on this edition of the Just in Time podcast with Justin Kutcher.
My first one of those was Barry Bonds. Just watching him play and hit and do everything that he did was like, this freaking Barry Bonds, man, that's crazy. And I know if I was on his team, like, yeah, let's say, talking in the shower, like, what are you doing for dinner tonight?
Yeah.
The funny thing about Jeter, he was like the Yankees, you had to be clean shaven, and Jeter was the beard police, man. It was crazy.
Oh, really?
Never thought about him being like that. He was Mr. Yankee, right? So he respected the rules and traditions of the Yankees. I'll tell you why he was a unanimous Hall of Famer. Because he was the nicest, most genuine person on the planet that was really, really good at baseball. He's Hall of Famer, but he can't be unanimous. And Mariano never did it to anyone. And he was someone that really, really, really respected everyone that he came in contact with. I'm still running back to the base, and I'm trying to catch the ball. I catch the ball, the runner slides in, but at this point, I had already turned my ankle on the base because I was running back to it, and the trainer come out of the game. I was like, I'm never going to get to the big leagues in my life, ever.
The greatest sports moments happen in seconds, but the stories behind them are timeless. Dive into the mind of the icons who lived those moments. No filters, just authentic conversations about the moments that define careers. I'm Justin Kutcher, and this is the Just in Time podcast. Welcome to another edition of the Just in Time podcast with Justin Kutcher, joined now by a guy who played in the big leagues for 13 years. He could hit the ball an absolute mile on a baseball field, also on the golf course. He's a golf buddy of mine, Mark Reynolds. Mark, thanks so much for joining me. Appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, Justin, I appreciate it, man. I love doing this stuff. I love telling stories and just, having anyone that still wants to listen to me. It's cool with me.
Well, the one thing we could talk about the major leagues, but I actually want to go back to your childhood and where you grew up. Virginia Beach and the team that you had in Virginia Beach. You, BJ Upton, Justin Upton, David Wright, and Ryan Zimmerman.
Mm-hmm.
Did you lose a game?
It was tough to beat us, I'll tell you that. But the funny part about how the whole thing came together was like, so Michael Kadire was like the OG of, like, he was like one of our coaches, and he was a couple years older than us, and he kind of showed us what it, he got drafted by the Twins and got everything kind of rolling in the area, and then just somehow all five of us were just kind of the same age, and we all went to different high schools, and we all went to we were from different areas of Tidewater, which is the seven cities, but we got together on the same team for a couple summers, and it was a lot of fun, a lot of good baseball, and to be honest with you, it made us all better. Like watching Dave take ground balls, watching Zim take ground balls, watching BJ run, watching Justin, who was a couple years younger, like hit. I'm like, geez, man, I have no chance. And but playing with those guys and the attention that those guys brought to the Tidewater area, not only for everyone around there, especially our team.
Mm-hmm.
I think it got me seen more than I would have ever been seen before, because I wasn't like great like those guys. I was just pretty average player. But those guys were amazing, and to be able to play with them and to be on that team with, like, think about it, 4 or 5 guys with 10 plus years in the big leagues on the same 12U travel ball team is crazy, and it was a great experience. It was so much fun.
I honestly don't know if there's another team out there in history, like a 12U team, to have what you guys had. And then I want to know, where did everyone play? Because, I mean, you guys are all like shortstops.
Yeah, we rotated around a lot. I mean, it was fun because I'm very involved in the travel ball scene now with I have 3 sons. I'm very involved with, parents and people complaining about where their kids are playing. I'm like, God, it doesn't matter. Like, they're 12. Like, we're going to figure it out eventually. Like, I'm rotating kids in and out, and like, oh, my son needs to play shortstop to get but he needs to be consistently at the same position to get all these reps and, all this stuff. And I was like, I played shortstop like 2 innings a game. And then I went to be the starting shortstop as a freshman at the University of Virginia. And then I played 13 years in the big leagues. Like, it doesn't matter at 12. Like, you want reps, you want game, you just want to play against the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that uh, having that experience back then with all those guys really kind of shaped kind of how I coach my kids now, and understanding how different situations, like if it they're not that it's not that big of a deal as long as everyone's getting AB, as long as everyone's getting reps, as long as everyone shows up to practice, like that's when we get better. And but yeah, to answer your question, BJ was the outfielder because he was really fast, but he's also played short. And Zim, he was, you know, third base, shortstop. Dave was more third because he was a bigger kid. Justin didn't really play a whole lot because he was younger. And then we just kind of all filled in around. And I tell you, the one position everybody wanted to play was hitter, and we all hit.
At that time, who was the best player?
It definitely was David Wright. He was so far beyond his years, so mature, he was buttoned up, and and me, Zim, and BJ were like, dude, when are we gonna hit puberty so we can like grow and get strong? And and Dave was, he was bigger, stronger, better, faster, and just mature. And we all kind of looked up to him, to be honest with you. And he definitely pulled us along to be better baseball players.
And then you and Zim went to UVA, right?
Yeah. So I was a year ahead of Zim in school.
Okay.
So we were the same age, but I went to college when I was 17. And I remember I was at UVA in the summer, and the coach, we had to do like steroid testing and drug testing, all this stuff. And they were like, "Where's Reynolds?" I was like, "I'm right here." He goes, "We need to fax your parents your consent form to be drug tested," because I wasn't 18 yet. So that was my like we were so young, but so I was ahead of him, and then me and Zim, I played shortstop at UVA, and Zim played third. And honestly, if Zim got there first, he would have probably played short, and I would have probably played third. It just so happened I was there first, and but we played together there, and then we got to play on the Nationals together, which was really fun. But yeah, it was just a great experience all around.
I was wondering, like, you grow up with these guys, and for Zim, I think it has to be really special because you played like, youth baseball, then you play college baseball, then you get to play with him in the majors. What was it like when you get reunited in the majors with him?
It was awesome. I can remember the first time we played the Nationals when we were both in the big leagues, and I was in Baltimore. It was like an interleague series,
Mhm.
and they had us come and do these like interviews and like the chairs, and they tried to pit us against each other and be these rivals. And like we literally just surfed together like last month. Like we grew up surfing together in Sandbridge, where we're Virginia Beach and Sandbridge, and like we were like we were best friends. And to grow up together, and then to be able to play together later on in our careers when we were both like had kids and families, and just being older and mature. And it was awesome experience because when you're 10, 11, 12, 13, you dream of getting to the big leagues.
Mhm.
But then like when you're 37 and still and you're in the big leagues, and you're playing with like one of your boys from when you were 12 years old on the same team, like it was a really surreal experience. It was so much fun. And like we still text and talk. We're in the same fantasy football league. We were on the same group me chat, and with all of our boys, and we just have fun with it. And it's just very fortunate to be able to play with those guys and to have them kind of pull me along as like I was like the odd man out, and then I got to the big league somehow, and carved out a pretty good career.
Yeah, I would say so. Like, you're the odd man out. You get 298 career home runs in the big leagues. I think it all worked out, but I always love the intricacies of baseball, of sports, and the conversations you may have. So what happens when you are playing against the Upton brothers at some point, or you're playing against David Wright, or you're playing against Zim, and they get to third base? Like, are you guys, are you holding your glove up and cracking jokes? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like you watch like a baseball game, and the pitching coach goes out there and he's like this, and the pitcher's like this, and the catcher, it's funny because there's people do really amazing things with lip reading. And trust me, for the most part, you don't want to know what people say on the field or in the clubhouse. And so, because there's always like behind the scene jokes, like when we were little, kind of like we wear each other out, and it's just part of
Yeah.
the culture of baseball. But a funny story is, so I was on the D-backs, and Justin Upton gets called up, and he's hitting 3-hole, I'm hitting 4-hole, and we're like it's like just a I don't know game in June or July or whatever, and I turn around and look at Justin, I'm like, dude, could you imagine two kids from Virginia Beach, Tidewater area in this hitting 3-4 hole in a big league lineup? Could you imagine that when we were like 12 or 13? And he goes, dude, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And then it's like little conversations like that where it's like a surreal moment where you're
Yeah.
actually like in the big leagues and at the top of your game, but then you remember where you come from with like literally your boy like right next to you that you grew up playing with in the same big league lineup. It's a crazy story. It was a lot of good experiences, and every time we would go play the Mets or the Nats or the Tampa where BJ was,
Right.
there was always that crazy moment where it's like, dude, this is unbelievable. Even Kadire in Minnesota and then later in Colorado, it was like, we all grew up together in the same kind of mold of Virginia Beach surfing, skateboarding, and all this stuff. But we just happened to be good at baseball, and it's just a crazy thing to happen for that many guys to make it at the same time.
So I used to ask this question, and your story right there is the perfect lead in, because I used to always ask major leaguers, when you go to the ballpark, do you feel as if you're going to play a game or to do a job? And the reason why it popped into my head, I was watching a Yankee game one time and I looked at Paul O'Neill, and his routine as he taps the bat and he takes his practice swings and he gets in. And I'm wondering, was that his routine when he was in Little League, when he was playing Legion ball, like going up? So for you, having a guy that you grew up with, did it feel like you're going to play a game or to do a job?
It was probably a little bit of both. I mean, I think the pressures and the outside influences of media and you know fans and everything. There's a lot of pressure. So it was almost kind of as sometimes when you're like in a funk, it was like a job because you're like, I got to go grind today. But most of the time, when you really sit back and think about it and think about what you're doing for a living, like I'm playing a kid's game,
Yeah.
for a living, and I would say it was more often that versus like this is a job. The job is like dealing with everything else but the baseball. The baseball is fun. What did Brett Favre say? I get paid to practice and play on Sundays for free.
Yeah.
Something, and it's kind of the same thing. It's like when you're playing the game, it's relaxing and free and fun and stressful and all the emotions go into it. But like, after the game, it's like you got to have your professional face on and talk to the media, and then you got to deal with like, um, you know, your wife and kids when you get home, and you got to deal with the trainers because you missed the treatment, and you're like, dude, I just want to go home and go to bed. So that's kind of the job aspect of it. But actually playing baseball is like it's the best job in the world.
How much would your routine, like if I went back and I saw footage of Mark Reynolds as a 12-year-old and your batting stance and your routine getting ready to get to the plate, how much would it differ from what it is and what it was when you're in the big leagues?
Probably a complete one. It'd be totally different.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
when I was 12 and 13, it was like we didn't even warm up. Like we roll to the field and we just go play. And like,
Right.
and
I
when you
mean,
get a
I
little.
mean, in the at bat, in the actual
Oh,
at
okay, okay,
bat.
okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got you because you get older, you got to stretch a little more and do
Yeah.
all that stuff. But in the at bat, pr- a lot of the same stuff. I've had the same stance since I was probably 11. My timing, I used to toe tap, and then I did a little leg kick, and then I just picked it up, put it down. There's always little intricacies there, but like for the most part, my swing path, my open stance, um, that's always been the same. Just my timing to get in a hitting position, it kind of changed and over the years. It's really cool. My wife did this. as a retirement gift, she did this painting for me, and an artist did it in Colorado. It was like from my D-backs days all the way to the end to the Rockies days, and it was my swing,
Oh,
but
wow.
in different uniforms at different points in my career, and it's the exact same the whole time through 13 years. And so once you get into that rhythm and that habit and that what feels comfortable, I don't think you change too much.
You know, it's funny, as I was getting ready to do this interview, I mean, we've played so many rounds of golf together, we've talked so much. Dude, I didn't realize I actually called your games in the Cape Cod League in 2002.
A long time ago.
I was
I didn't
broadcasting
even
for
know you
the
guys had radio. Those
so
games were on the radio or whatever.
so I was broadcasting for the Hyannis Mets. We were the only team to broadcast. We were the first team to broadcast, and we only did the home games. And so here I am going back, looking at what you've done and where you were, and I'm like, wait a minute. He played 2 years in the Cape League. In '02, he was with Yarmouth Dennis. I'm like, I guarantee if I go back in my scorebooks, I have Mark Reynolds, UVA in my books.
Wow.
Like, I could tell you what you did against Hyannis and the different pitchers.
It's funny how little the circle of baseball is. Like even from like you guys on the media side to like players to like just for example, Jackson Holiday was driving home from Baltimore down to Florida. I think I told you this to the golf course the other day.
Yeah.
He was driving down and he came through Charlotte, called me up, was like, "Hey, need a place to stay. Come on." So Jackson, actually, I think Leslie called my wife, his mom, but like he stayed at her house for 2 days, hung out with my sons. We have a golf simulator at our house, so they played golf upstairs for like 4 hours. We had some steaks, like took him to baseball practice where I coached at high school and let the kids meet him. So it's just like a little circle. And when I played with his dad, Matt, in St. Louis, Jackson was like 12 or 13, and my son was like 9, 8, 9. So like it's just the circle and the is so little, and everyone stays so together. And it doesn't surprise me that you called one of my games in YD in 2002. It's crazy.
It blows my mind. And the funny thing is, I'm thinking about what you just said about Jackson Holiday, who's one of the top young players in baseball. And you said he and your sons were playing on the golf simulator. Like, that's how we're getting old, when you know that like your teammates, their kids are now major leaguers. It's like, oh my God. And they don't want to spend time with you, even though they're now a professional. They're like, dude, I want to be with my boys.
To like Jackson and Jacob text all the time. He's closer to age with my son than me, and it's like, what does he want to hang out with me? I'm like some old guy. Like it doesn't. I'm like his dad or something. Like it's just weird. And it's funny too. Is like I've been watching the playoffs and Vladdy's been raking,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I was teammates with his dad in Baltimore. Like, and I remember Vladdy coming out and hitting BP at Camden. I'm like, it's just crazy the connections and the small world of baseball.
Could you tell when you were around the Holiday boys, because both of them are first round picks, that they had something at a young age?
Not really. But all these baseball kids that grow up in the clubhouse, they all have something. They're around it. They love it. They breathe it. They live it, and they see their dads do it. And I think that being a dad is the biggest influence in your child's life. And, um, you know, to have your son emulate what you want to do, that's all they know. So they just grow up doing it. And that's all they want to do. I'm like, ask Jacob, I'm like, Jay, what do you want to do if you don't play baseball? He's like, I don't want to play baseball. I'm like, well, you gotta do something. But then I think back when I was his age, I was like, the only thing I want to do is get to the big league. So I'm like, you know what, whatever. You live your dream, buddy. Keep following that and you do what you do. And hopefully it works out for you.
Take me back to 2007,
Okay.
Arizona. You get called up. So you had this dream of being 12 years old, and all you want to do is be a big league player. And now you get that call up, and here you are, a 16th round pick, and you're going to make that major league debut. What was the emotions that were going through you? Where did you have to come from to get to the game? Take me through that whole process.
That's a good story. I think I've told you about half of it when I first got to the clubhouse and met Randy Johnson. But
Yeah.
so I'm in Mobile, Alabama, in Double A, and Brett Butler's our manager,
Oh wow.
and Bugsy, he made us bunt every day off the machine. So I'm like, oh, gosh, I'm so glad I finally don't have to bunt off the machine anymore. Sure enough, to get the bigs, you got to bunt. But anyways, so he calls me in the office and says, "Hey, you need to go pack your you got to fly to Denver." I'm like, Denver. All right. I know the Rockies are there, but I'm thinking I'm going to Triple A because I'm in Double A. I was like, oh,
Right.
Colorado Springs, maybe Reno's there, whatever. I don't know. Just going to Colorado Springs, moved up Triple A. And he goes, no, you're going to Denver. You're in the big leagues. And it's probably 11:30 at night, maybe midnight after the game. And probably had a rain delay in Mobile that night because it rains
Yeah.
every single day. So I get the call my parents. And so, but it was a Sunday game. And my parents are obviously in Virginia Beach. So they can't fly there. And then the next day we're going to Pittsburgh.
Okay.
So my parents didn't see my debut. They saw me in Pittsburgh the next day. But so I fly to Denver and I get there and I've never been there in my life. And if you don't know Denver, the airport in Denver to downtown Denver is about almost an hour drive, like 50 minutes. So I get in the thing, I was like, hey, I need to go to Coors Field, and the guy's like, cool, takes me, and he kept driving. I'm like, I didn't know. I started looking at my phone. I'm like, how far is it from the airport in Denver to downtown? So I get to the field, get there, get the clubhouse. I met our manager, Bob Melvin, went and met him, and he goes, hey, I hope you're rested. You're in the 7 hole starting at third base. And I'm like, oh boy. And that day, Brandon Webb is pitching, who was like one of the nastiest sinker ballers in the league. And I'm about to get 45 ground balls in my debut from Webby, So, so I was already nervous, but I talked to like Zim, who's already been in the big leagues. I've been texting with Dave. He's like, just go sit in your locker, get ready, do your job, and don't make a fuss, So I'm like, all right, cool. So I get there, go and walk into the training room, and Randy's laying on the table, and he's just like, hey. I'm like, hey. I had his rookie card for my brother. Hey, you gotta get this signed for me. I had no idea how long I was going to be there. I was be there a couple days or whatever. So I was like, I gotta take advantage of this. I need to get it signed. This was Randy was pitching that day. Brandon was pitching the next day in Pittsburgh. So I was nervous for my parents to watch me throw ground balls. Randy was pitching that day. And so Randy's laying on the table. He's like sweatshirt, hoodie on, just total zen, just ready to go. And I didn't think anything of it. Just, hey, will you sign my card? He goes, get out of my face right now. And that was the clean version of what he said to me.
You could say the real version here on this podcast. It's okay. Everyone loves it.
So anyways, he said some choice words, and I was like, crap, I just already messed up. And I think he went out that night and threw like 7 scoreless in Denver, which is hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of after the game, he was like, hey, man, my bad. He signed my card for me. And I was like, this is pretty cool. So that was like, and I grew up watching Randy Johnson, right. At that point, he's at the end of his career, and I was 22, and like, there's a big gap there in generations and age and everything. So, but that was kind of like the first time I was like, crap, I messed up, but it worked out. And Randy pitched a good game. If he didn't pitch a good game, I could only imagine what would have happened.
You would have been back in Double A.
Yes, yeah, he would have went. Bob, send him down.
Yeah.
But being like, seeing Randy, and then Orlando Hudson, Eric Burns, these guys that you just watch on TV all the time, and it's just like, I'm part of this club now, it was really, really cool. And then to be part of it with Dave and Ryan and BJ, it was just kind of a full circle of just like dreams and hopes and prayers and everything that you live for. It happened, and it was just amazing.
Okay, who'd you face your first at bat?
Aaron Cook was our first game. Like, righty sinker baller, 89, 91. I think I had 2 hits with a double, a couple RBIs, and then it was just off like a rocket ship from there. It was Never got sent back down my whole career. And then just 13 years later, I was like, COVID hit and I was laying in my pool and I'm like, I'm done. Ain't going back. Ain't happening.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was fun.
So I need to know, all right, how do you get over that awe factor? Like, I watched Randy Johnson playing, I watched Eric Burns playing, and now I'm in the clubhouse and I'm on the field with them. Like, at what point does it become, oh, this is my teammate and we're peers right now?
Well, I think it's a combination of like a couple things. I think the first thing is that you've worked your rear end off your whole life to earn the opportunity. And I didn't get there off charity. I didn't get there. I was a 16th round pick.
Right.
They gave me a plane ticket and, 10 grand to go to play in the minor leagues. It wasn't any charity. It wasn't just, hey, let's see what he's got. Like, I worked my rear end off day in and day out my whole life. That's number one. Number two, I felt like I belonged there because I knew I was good. In my mind, I mean, I don't know what scouts or GMs or coaches or whoever. In my mind, I was like, I belong. But then you get there and, you're in the situation of like, actually being there and the fans and the crowd and the uniforms and the clubbies. I mean, they do everything short of wiping your butt for you in the toilet, I mean, it's like, this is amazing. That was a moment I was like, dang, this is awesome. But then like when it really hit home, I got my first hit, and then I hit a double, and then it's like, all right, I'm cool, feel confident, good. And where you really feel part of the team is like after the game, come in, and then you're in the shower with all these dudes, and they're like, and you're like, yep, just regular dudes showering up. Let's go, get on the
Yep.
plane. So it's like you put everyone on a pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're with them and you're their peer, they treat you just like you should belong. And so like and that's why, when I would be out in public, and even with like my high school kids now, they're like, Coach, watch you on YouTube. I'm like, well, whatever, like, cool.
Yeah.
I think this, for the most part, all the guys in the big leagues think of themselves as just normal dudes. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we're just normal people. And I never thought of myself as like, I can call a restaurant, get a reservation, just drop my name. I never did that. Hated it. And my wife probably did it a few times, but I never did that. And so like, I always think of myself as just some normal dude that could just hit a baseball. And um, so I always try to respect the game in that way and be humble and know that, you know, if I didn't hit a baseball, I don't even know what I'd be doing. So, but you feel like you belong when you get out of the shower and everyone's just there and just like, yeah, we're just dudes playing baseball and let's go have some more fun.
So who's the player that you go up against, whether it's a pitcher you face or a player that's on the field, and you just go, oh my God, like I'm next to this guy, I'm facing this guy right now.
My first one of those was Barry Bonds. Just watching him play and hit and do everything that he did was, man, it was like, this freaking Barry Bonds, man, that's crazy. And I know if I was on his team, be like, yeah, let's hey, talking in the shower, like, what are you doing for dinner tonight?
Yeah.
But like, he's not your teammate, so it's like you grow up idolizing these guys, and it's like, man, it's freaking Barry Bonds right there. That's unbelievable. Him, and then later on in my career, I was fortunate enough to play for the Yankees,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was on the team in 2013. It was Mariano's last year, and seeing him, like, man, just class act, great teammate. I'm like, I'm freaking teammates with this guy. I remember, when I was in Baltimore in the AL East, facing him, just he'd wear me out. I finally got hit off of him one time, but him and Jeter, and then being like walking around that clubhouse, Yogi Berra would always be in there. Just all these legends just hanging out, and I try to remember. I'm like, I'm peers with these people, but these guys are like going to be in the Hall of Fame. They're like little kids' favorite players, and like, I'm just like teammates with them. And it's just humbling and awesome. And And I'm very fortunate for the career that I had and the people that I met.
Let's talk about that Yankees experience, because I remember when you signed with the Yankees, I had a conversation with my dad and my brother, and I was like, I believe you made your debut with the Yankees at Fenway Park. And I said, he's going to hit a home run. And they're like, what? I'm like, this is what this dude does. He's going to hit a home run. In your first at bat in a Yankee uniform, I'm pretty confident you put one over the monster.
I did. It was off Felix Dubront. I remember like it was yesterday. And this is how you know you're a Yankee. Okay. You're in Fenway, first at bat. He threw me like a 2-2 changeup down and away, and it was like, ass out,
Yep.
homer. And we always say Fenway Park, it's like a downhill putt. You just got to get it going, and then it goes. And so hit the home run. I come back, high fives, like Cano, A-Rod, Jeter, blah, blah. And then like Denzel Washington's like next to the dugout, give me knuckles. I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like freaking Yankee Red Sox. This is crazy. And I didn't know really, like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, it's just another baseball game. And then like you realize the situation that you're in, and it's something that's really, you grow up watching and then you're in the middle of it, and it's something that's really, really cool and memorable for sure.
What about, okay, so you open up on the road at Fenway. How about the
Mm-hmm.
first time when you put those pinstripes on? Because everyone talks about the Yankee pinstripes being different than every other uniform that you wear.
Yeah, it was. I specifically don't remember my first home game at Yankee Stadium because, yeah, I played there a bunch of times before with
Right.
Baltimore. Actually, I played old Yankee Stadium. We were on the D-backs, facing like Musina and Chiming, these guys. And so it was like, it wasn't like a surreal experience, like doing that, because it was just baseball to me, and I was trying to like have a job and support my family and everything like that. But I think that the one time I realized where I'm like really a Yankee was so I lived in Midtown,
Yep.
and I took the subway from Yankee Stadium to Rockefeller Center every day, and then walked to my apartment. And one day we had a rough game. We I don't know, we stunk up the joint, and I rode the subway every night. And so I get on the thing, and I always have my hood on and like trying to like just blend in. And for the most part, the fans are pretty cool. And this guy, in a full New York accent, was like, "You effing suck tonight, Reynolds. I ain't gonna call you out, but you effing suck." And then I just sat there by I was like, "Yeah, I did suck tonight." He and just to see the passion of the Yankees fans and the passion of just New York in general, it was a great experience. And to be able to, I mean, the uniforms are pretty freaking cool. The pinstripes with, I was number 39, which kind of stunk because every number there is retired.
You know who
But
wore 39 though, right?
never in my life. No.
Do you know who wore for the
Oh,
Yankees?
no idea.
Straw.
Really?
Darryl Strawberry.
He'll be retired then because he's freaking good.
No, I mean he Straw. I want to say it was 39 with the Yankees. I'm almost positive. When he came over, like 96, 97, 98, that whole run, he was 39.
I signed there. They were like, "What number do you want?" I was like, "I don't know." He goes, "Well, the lowest number we got is 39." I was like, "I'll take it." I mean, 39. That's why like Judge is probably 99 because he was like, "I
99.
just want my own number. I don't want like,
Yes.
you know." But it was a very, very cool experience, and I love New York. I love playing there, and it was just, especially the cool, like watching Mariano retire and seeing how gracious he was and humble he was with all of his teammates, all of his fans. And it was so cool, so cool.
I wanted to ask you about Mariano because he is the only player ever to be elected unanimously into the Hall of Fame. Like when people talk about the greatest, he is the greatest closer of all time. When he went out, when he retired, he could still pitch. So what were you seeing from him? Like, were you like, dude, if I were you, I'd play another year. Like, keep on going.
I think that he was just, he had other things. I mean, I can't speak for him, but from my own experience, like when I retired, like I'm like, I have other things I really want to do. Like, I'm sure that was maybe a little bit of the case with him too. But I'll tell you why he was a unanimous Hall of Famer, because he was the nicest, most genuine person on the planet that was really, really good at baseball. And you always have the one or two media members that someone rubbed the wrong way, and they're like, "Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, but he can't be unanimous." And Mariano never did it to anyone. And he loved Jesus, and he was someone that really, really, really respected everyone that he came in contact with. And that was the biggest takeaway I ever got from someone that was so good at the top of his game. Whenever I mean, he could have pitched probably 3 or 4 more years, but like, just I learned a lot from him and being around him and being someone that respects the game and people around me. Watching him, who he was, respect everyone from the kid that cleaned his shoes to whoever at the top, the president of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was treated everyone the exact same. And that was very, very big learning experience for me. And it was awesome to be around.
I was always amazed, and I'm still always amazed when you see his autograph, how it's perfect.
Unbelievable.
Like, I mean, to think about how many he has to sign,
mm-hmm.
and every one of them, you could see every single letter, and it's Mariano Rivera. Like, that to me, it goes to what you said. He exudes class.
And he even put the dot on the I.
Yeah.
And Mariano and Rivera, like, everything was meticulous and perfect. And I remember, like, being in the locker room, and his locker was probably 5 or 6 down from mine, and he would have, and the ceiling in the locker room is probably 15 feet tall. He would have dozens of baseballs stacked up to the ceiling, like 4 or 5 rows. And he would just sit there all day and just sign in his locker all day long. Because there were people that, players and opponents and family members of players and all this stuff that just wanted stuff signed because he was leaving. And
right.
It's pretty cool. He signed the whole team that year jersey. It was his retirement jersey. And it had the patch on it. It says last to wear 42. And he gave all the team members one. And I got it framed upstairs in my house. And it's one of my coolest things that I have. It's very, very awesome.
Any similarities from Mariano and Jeter? Because Jeter's autograph also, you can read the letters.
Yeah. It's funny thing about Jeter. He was like the Yankees, you had to be clean shaven, and I'd had a beard my whole career. Well, when I could grow one, because I never really could. Yeah. But by the time I got to the Yankees, I could grow a beard, and I'd had one. And Jeter was the beard police, man. It was crazy.
Oh, really?
Never thought about it. Never thought about him being like that. But he was Mr. Yankee, right? So he respected the rules and traditions of the Yankees. And we'd be like, we'd be hitting BP or taking ground balls or whatever. And he'd be like, hey, Reynolds, you need to clean it up. Go in the clubhouse, clean it up. And I respected that because, like, that's how he grew up with the Yankees. I'm sure someone yelled at him about it when he was younger, whoever it was. And so he just kept the tradition going. And I was like, man, that's awesome that he's like, Hall of Famer, and he still cares about the appearance and the tradition of the Yankees and of what that team is all about. And it was very, very cool to play with him too. And he was an awesome dude, man. He is an awesome dude. But
what kind of a leader was he on the field or in the clubhouse?
Second to none. I mean, I got a story. So we're playing in Toronto. Cano gets hit by a pitch. And then I think Suarez was our backup middle infielder on the roster. And then he goes in to play for him. He pulls a hammy running to first. And I'm playing third base at the time. And Girardi calls me in the office and goes, hey, Alex can come back tomorrow. He's going to play third. Cano and Suarez are down. Can you play second? And the first lesson of anyone listening to this is never say no.
Right.
I got you. Yep. I'm in, Skip. Got you. I've done it a million times. I'm good to go. So I'm like, then I go home. I go back to the hotel in Toronto that night. I'm like, I got to figure out how to play second base. I don't know what I'm doing. And so talked to Jeter later on that night. He goes, "Hey, meet me in the field tomorrow, couple hours before BP. We need to talk about double play turns and stuff like that." I'm like, "Of course,
Yeah.
like no problem. Like, am I living a dream right now? Like Derek Jeter wants to practice double plays with me." So we get to the field and we're on the turf. Roof's open. It's hot, man. It's freaking sun's beating down. It's so hot. And because at night they close the roof's closed and it's perfect, but during the day they keep it open. So it's like 100 degrees out, and we're out there 1:00, maybe noon or 1, and we have a fungo hitter hitting to us. He goes, "Here's what I want you to do. We're going to turn about 20 or 30 double. You're going to feed me double plays." I was like, "Perfect." And so, boom, I'm feeding them, boom, boom, boom. And I hit him here most of the time. I threw one like right here, and he just let it go into left field. And he goes, "That's not going to work. Like, it's perfection around here. You got to hit me right here every time." And that was when I was like, dang, this guy's freaking, that's why it's a Hall of Famer, because he knows what he wants to do. He understands what the work it takes to be excellent. That's why he's won however many World Series he has, because he never played second base with me before, or shortstop, and I was second baseman. Never done it. He wanted to work, and he could have easily gone, whatever, we'll figure it out. And I only played one game there because then we had enough time to call up another second baseman from minor leagues the next day. But like, he wanted to, like, he's that meticulous and that spot on to where he wants to understand my mannerisms and how I turn double play, so he can anticipate where the ball is going to be, and to be that perfect. And I was like, no, that's kind of what it takes to be really, really good. And that was like one of my first lessons of, like, I can't just rely on pure talent alone. You have to have an understanding of what it takes to be a true professional. And that's Jeter in a nutshell.
Did you turn the tide and take feeds from him? And if he didn't hit you in the chest, did you let it go?
I know. If he threw it on my ankles, I was diving for it. But we did do that. He did throw me some too. And for the most part, they were already here. But if I had to move my glove, if I had to dive for it, I would have caught it. Hey, great feed right there. Yeah, I know it's a tough play. Backhand, I got you. Great feed, though.
You know what? You actually saved me. That guy was going to take out my legs.
Yeah. I see what you're doing there. You saw he was going to kill me up, take out my ACL, so you threw it to this side so I had to die. Perfect. Stay right there, Derek. Perfect.
What it's like to play in the postseason, because you had the experiences and you had some pretty darn good ones. I think it was 2007 NLDS against the Cubs. Yeah. So it's your rookie year. And here you go. Game 1, gone. Mark Reynolds home run. Like, did you feel like it was amped up, or did you feel like it was another game?
I was so young. I think I was maybe 23. I was so young and dumb and had no sense of what was going on around me. That was just like, oh, all right, fastball, cool, homer. And then, you run around the bases, and it's like, then you walk in the, after the game, you win, and then they're like, hey, they want to see you, like, in the press room or whatever. Because normally they come to your locker room, and there's like, a gaggle of people, like cameras. But you got to go to the press room. I'm like, all right, it's cool. Walk down the press room, and there's like 200 people in there, and I'm like, what is going on right now? Like, tell us about the swing. I was like, I don't know. It was a fastball. I hit a homer. Like, whatever. Like, it wasn't a big deal. And then, but looking back on that, it's like, man, that was really, like, no clue how cool that was that I did that. That was the game where Lou Piniella took out Zambrano early. I think it was game 3.
You hit game 1 and game 3.
I don't remember game 1. No, the game 3, I remember game 3 because it was a big deal, because Lou Piniella took out Zambrano, saving him for game 5 early, and then brought in Marmol to close out the inning. And I think it was a 1-1 game, and I hit a 2-run homer off Marmol throwing 100, which was like very rare back then. And hit that 2-run homer, and then Piniella, I don't think Piniella ever recovered from that. Like, because he wanted to save Zambrano, and we swept him in 3 games. It's like, what we do? Or no, game 2 maybe. No, maybe 3. No, 2. because we swept them in Wrigley in game 3, but like just seeing like the magnifying glass when I was young, the magnifying glass was like 30,000 feet. And then when you get older and you start playing and, you get into the postseason and later in your career, like, it's like you're burning an ant with the sun and every single thing that you do, you're like so nervous. You don't want to mess up. But I think something to be said about being young and naive and not understanding the situation you're in lets you play more free and lets you, just shine in those moments more than when you're old and like grinding and trying to figure out like, just don't embarrass myself in front of a national audience.
It's funny because I go back to 1996. Andrew Jones, as an 18-year-old, hits 2 home runs in 1 game in the World Series. Miguel Cabrera in 2003 takes Roger Clemens deep, and he's like 19 years old. And as a broadcaster, we're in awe, like, oh my gosh, how is this player doing it? But you're now saying you're so young and naive, you don't think anything differently. You're just like, I'm see ball, hit ball.
Yeah. You might as well be in the Dominican Summer League or Dominican Winter League, like just facing whoever and just going deep. Like it doesn't matter. Like with maturity comes understanding, but with being young, you're just an idiot and you're just like, oh, cool, fastball in, boom, homer. But like when you're old, you're like, all right, what's he gonna do? A 2-2 count, 80% slider here, maybe throw a fastball in. You don't know what's gonna happen, and you think all this stuff. When you're young, you're just like letting it eat, man. I think just letting it eat. I tell my high school kids this all the time that I coach. I'm like, guys, just let it go, let it rip. If you're aggressive and you let it rip and you just have fun playing the game, you're going to be successful more than if you're tentative and thinking and worrying about everything that's going to happen because nobody knows what's going to happen. It's baseball.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You had a lot of success with the bases loaded. I think you had 4 career Grand Slams.
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Honestly.
So to what you just said about, to your players in high school, just let it rip, let it rip. When the bases were loaded, was that your mindset? Just the pressure's on the pitcher, not on me.
I think that in those situations, the pitcher's trying to be so fine not to give up a run. You have to dial it back just a little bit. But when I say let it rip, I'm not saying go be like crazy wild and just whatever. It's more of a mindset of like, don't worry about what happens. Control what you can control.
Right.
That's what I mean by let it rip. Like if you're worried about like if I swing at a slider and I ground out to short on a defensive swing, like that's not letting it rip. Like what I mean by let it rip is like you're thinking about something that's going to happen if I do something. But like when I say let it go is like just be free and easy in your thinking. That way you can slow yourself down and understand the situation. And like, what's he trying to do to me right here? He's probably going to throw like an 0 get me over slider. And if I'm sitting dead red fastball, I'm going to swing through it or roll it over. Like there's situations where you have to just slow it down, understand and let it eat versus like always worrying about like, if you're worried about what's going to happen or what might happen bad, then your brain's going to be going 100 miles an hour and you're just going to be like, I don't know, then just swing. And so like, that's kind of what I mean by let it rip. I'm not talking about just like swinging out of your butt and then, letting, swing at three lawn darts that go 50 feet. Like we're not doing that. I think that's probably a good thing I should probably tell my high school players.
Note this down. Don't be
Yeah,
doing
guys.
this.
When I say let it eat, just don't go up there swinging at everything. All right.
You talked about what goes on in the clubhouse. You talked about what goes on. Just, you know, people don't want to know really what we do behind the scenes. I actually think a lot of people do want to know, and they do want to know certain things. Like when you're playing third base or you're playing first base and you realize I got to go in and just kind of give the pitcher a breather. Like, what's your move? Are you going in? Are you just grabbing the rosin bag? Or are you going in and cracking a joke?
Well, I'll answer that 1 second, but I always say this, like, you see all these reality shows and you see like, even during the All-Star game, they have the earpieces in and the players are talking, whatever. there should be like a paid subscription. Every player is mic'd up. If the standard fan or the casual fan knew the communication that goes on during every pitch and knows, they would love baseball so much more. Like if they knew, like when I played third base in Baltimore, JJ Harder is my shortstop.
Yep.
I knew every pitch that was coming. He told me every single pitch that was coming. So like if it's a slider, I'm leaning towards the line. If it's a heater, like I'm probably not even looking for the baseball guys are throwing 100, righty hitting.
Right.
And like even like when the pitching coach goes out to the mound and talks to the player, like if that's mic'd up, it's Bull Durham is like, hey, we're need some wedding gifts for so and so, and the guy needs a dead chicken. Like that's basically what it's like most of the time. Like you go to the mound, like, hey, my boy's struggling, timeout. I go up there, like, I'll get the rosin bag and rub it around, and I'll be like, hey, what are you doing after the game? Just I'm looking down on the ground. I'm like, what are you doing after the game? You get some food? You want a steak? You want some tacos? Like, what do you want? And he starts talking. He's like, I don't know. Steak's pretty heavy after the game. He's looking in his glove like this. Steak, I don't know. Steaks, I don't know. Maybe we get a smoothie. I don't know, something like that. Like it's more about it's like taking your mind off the situation, because more times than not, it's like you're thinking about, I got to throw this perfect 99-mile-an-hour fastball on the black to get, I don't know, Freddie Freeman out, versus like, man, what are we doing for dinner after the game? I'm kind of hungry right now, actually. We should probably, I don't know, tacos? Like, yeah, great. Let's do it. Maybe some dip, maybe a margarita. I don't know.
What would JJ Hardy, how would he relay the pitch to you?
Oh, so he would, first of all, I think he did it because he felt sorry for me, because my reactions weren't too hot, because that's why they brought up Manny Machado to play third and they moved me to first. But
that was a good move. Machado can
yeah,
play
great
there.
move. Yeah. No, but he would give me like, he would go, and if I heard that, like that sound, that's also he pitched. And then he would, that would be like our thing. And then I would look at him and he would flash me like different signs, like, hey, third sign, second sign, all this stuff. Like, and he would flash the outfield, like what's coming behind his back. There's so much stuff that goes on that when you're watching the game on TV and all you see is like the pitcher trying to listen to the pitch comm in his ear. But this is back in the day before any of that,
Right.
So, and there's just signs, if our third base coach normally like either position the infield or the outfield, and the first base coach positioned the infield or the outfield. So like there were signs like if our third base coach has his right foot up on the step, it would mean something. If our pitching coach had his left hand on the railing, it would mean something. If our manager's sitting down, that would be a sign. If our manager's standing up, it would be a sign. Our first base coach, if he's like, double elbows, that's like a sign for something in the game. So like it's very, very intricate what goes on. And, the standard fan has no idea.
Dude, I don't think I'm a standard fan. And I didn't know that if someone's got the arms crossed over the railing, that might be a sign.
Oh, absolutely. Everything means something. Everything. Or the next day's starting pitcher has his legs crossed a certain way, then that's like something's going on. Like everything means something. I try to tell my little 14-year-old travel ball team this, and we always give these signs like well, I'm not going to tell them to you because there might be travel ball dads watching this and they'll get my signs. But I'll say like some random thing, and no one pays attention to it at all, but the people that know what I'm talking about. And so, like, if I say something and then we got a man on first and second and our pitcher's struggling, and, man on first and second, the first baseman not hold the runner on. And this is 14U. So the 14-year-old kid's like, man in front of me, I'm way off the back. And then, so I got a righty pitcher on the mound, and I'll give like the verbal sign, and then they'll the verbal sign will be whatever it is, and then their catcher will drop his glove, and then our pitcher will pick to first base to a moving target at first, and he's out by 10 feet. And this happens all the time at 14U. And so, like, I learned all this from, just being around all these stupid signs that we do that people have no idea what's going on. Like, if you watching the dugout tonight, I'm sure it's different now because everyone has communications in their ears or whatever. But like, we used to have a trainer that would like twist his mustache like this, and that would be a sign for our outfielders that. No, not the outfielders. That would be we were in the first pitch. Yeah, so that would be a sign for our first baseman that all three pitches coming. Like just little stuff every single time. Just weird stuff.
Okay. But that means that so when you're playing first base, you're like just looking over in the dugout to see.
No, you're not staring at him.
Well, not staring, but it's like a glance. Like
it's like it says reconnecting right now. You see that?
Don't. No. It's good. Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not like you're like staring at him, but it's like there's a big lefty hitting, and you're playing first base, and your trainer's got you, and then you're just like you glance over, and he's doing this, and you're like, all right, I gotta go to the line one, and that's how you take hits away, and that's how you're. That's what separates like 100 loss team from 70 loss team that's going to win the World Series. Like the Dodgers, man, those guys, they got everything on everything. Like it's unbelievable. And like, there's just so many little intricacies of baseball that I wish that the random or the casual fan could know about, and that they would love the game so much more. And, it's so much fun to teach these younger generation kids that I coach now all this stuff and to have them be totally bought in on like, hey, if coach takes his hat off, something's going on, it's like,
you're like, actually, I just wanted to scratch my head.
Nothing's going on. I'm just really mad at you guys. So I'm just like this. So, but there's always something weird going on. That's all I can say.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I like to end all my podcasts with a segment I call This Just In. Rapid fire questions, and I reserve the right to ask follow-up questions if need be. You played for 8 teams. Which was your favorite?
Always judged on the clubhouse and the boys that I'm with. I don't care about the city I'm in. It's always on the clubhouse and the boys. And my favorite was Baltimore.
The batter you hated to see at the plate when you were playing third base? Stanton? Yep.
Sucked. Either him or Pujols, one of the two. But Stanton hit the ball. He hits the ball so hard, man. Like either him, it's either Stanton or Billy Hamilton. One of the two.
Oh, because he was so fast.
So fast. You're like, I can't throw him out. What do you want me to do? Is he going to bunt? He's going to slap it at me? Like, I don't know. So it's always either like the big strong guy or the little fast guy, like the Nolan Arenado or the Brendan Crawfords of the world. It's like, it's fine. Like, you're not going to run hard. I got you. You're out. Like, it's the guys that hit at 120 or the guys that can run to first base in like 3 seconds.
So when Giancarlo comes up, are you like, and they say, hey, play in, are you like, no, not doing it?
They won't ever say play in. Second of all, I'm on the outfield grass. Just don't hit it to me. Just hit it over the fence. It's fine. Yeah. 1 run.
All right. Flip side, you're now playing first base. Who's the lefty you don't want to see up?
Probably Jock Peterson was a good one. He turned and burned, buddy. Like that boy hit the ball as hard as he could, pull aside, no matter what. He was a good one. I would say, man, who else was a really, really good one? I'm trying to go off the beaten path here a little bit. Lefty, let's see. Olsen was a tough one. I'm just trying to think of guys that hooked the ball a lot. Olsen didn't really hook it. Olsen didn't really hook it, but he like hit true balls, and it's like you don't know if it's going to hook or stay straight, so you got kind of a guess on how hard he hit it. I would normally say like Barry Bonds or someone, but I never played first when he played. So it was,
thankfully.
Yes.
Like I can't imagine being at first base with Bonds up and you've got to hold the runner on. Like everyone talks about the hot corner at third base.
Holding a runner on with the big lefty hitting is the worst. Because you got to worry about a pitcher throwing it like 80 miles an hour to you. And then you got to worry about a hitter hitting it 100 miles an hour at you, like 90 feet away. And you're like, well, whatever. We'll figure it out.
At that point, you're just going into like protective mode.
Oh, yeah. You're like a hockey goalie, just like trying to catch it. I got a really good story about a righty hitter if you want to hear it.
Yeah, of course I want to hear it.
Okay, so this is my first ever big league spring training game in Tucson, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
We're playing the Dodgers. This is Gary Sheffield's on the Dodgers. I'm playing third base. I think you've heard this.
No, but everyone says Gary Sheffield.
I've told the rest of our group, our golf group, this probably, but you. And so I'm playing third base. I'm 21 years old, scared to death. Sheffield's up there, doing his whole thing. He hits a line drive just to my left. And so I jump for it. It hits like the tip of my glove. I miss it. It takes my glove off into left field. And there's a man on first. So my glove goes into left, not all the way into left field, but just like kind of on the grass. Right. So I run and grab my glove and I run back to third. The runner's going first to third. So the left fielder comes, throws it to me at third, and I'm still running back to the base. This is the first inning. I'm still running back to the base. And I'm trying to catch the ball. I catch the ball. The runner slides in. But at this point, I had already turned my ankle on the base because I was running back to it. And the trainer come out of the game. I was like, I'm never going to get to the big leagues in my life, ever. It's never happening. And so that was very embarrassing. I played one inning of my very first game in the big league spring training. And I was like, it was very demoralizing. But figured it out eventually.
All right. Speaking of Barry Bonds, best player you ever played with?
Baseball stats, like baseball player wise, or just dude?
Player wise.
Player wise. Okay. Man, probably. Either this is two total ends of the spectrum: Jim Thome or Nolan Arenado. Like two different players, but like two of the hardest workers I've ever seen in my life, and two of the best dudes I've ever seen in my life, and two of the best players I've ever played with.
Tipper in the clubhouse.
Doug Davis.
That was quick.
Old school lefty pitcher, threw like 84, but tipped. He taught me how to tip. Let's put it that way.
Every club he loved him.
Loved him. Like, Mr. Davis, what can I do for you today?
Yeah. Okay, now 2018, you're with the Nats. It's got to be the best game of your career. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, 10 RBIs.
Yeah, 5 for 5, 2 home runs, double, 10 RBIs.
Yeah, good month. Yep, one night.
Okay, so obviously you're in what they call the zone. What, if you can best verbalize it, describe it, articulate it, what was that night like?
Well, the precursor to that was the night before I hit a walk-off home run. Pinch hit, walk-off homer.
Oh, wow.
So I was already feeling good. And then I'm in the lineup the next day. I'm like, all right. And then we're facing a lefty. And I'm like, all right. So it was like a lot of things it was Wei Yin Chen, who I'd really hit really well in my career.
Mm-hmm.
And, and then I think my first bat hit a home run, and then I hit a broken bat, single, couple. But it wasn't more of the RBI because everyone was on base, like Harp, Turner, Rendon, all those guys are on base in front of me. I mean, it's, all you got to do is just put it out there somewhere. And, it was just one of those nights where I was coming off a confident walk-off the night before. Then it was one of those things where the pitcher lined up for me well. And then it was just like, once I got going and confident, it was just like nonstop. Like, I didn't care. You could throw anyone out there. I'm going to absolutely just break them. And then the next day we got beat by 15 runs and ended up pitching.
What?
Yeah, I ended up pitching on Sunday.
You have 10 RBIs one night. The previous night, you have a pinch hit, walk-off homer, and you pitch?
Sunday, in the day game. Yep.
That's incredible.
I got a lot of weird stuff to happen in my career, and that was right up there.
All right. You may have just answered it, but who is the pitcher that you love to see on the mound?
No, it was man. There wasn't really. It wasn't a specific pitcher. It was like a type of pitcher.
Okay.
Like Zito, big loopy curveball, heater, like no cutter, slider really much to think of. So it was like one or the other.
Yep.
And the same thing with the righty. It was like if someone was throwing like a hard heater and a loopy curveball, I could figure that out pretty easily. But if it's like cutter sliderish, like Jake Peavy, Bob Belvin was like, "Hey, you're not playing tomorrow."
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Yeah. No
Like
problem.
prime Jake Peavy is like 96 sink, 94 cut. It's like it's not ideal for me.
Yeah. How about okay? So I guess Jake Peavy was the pitcher you hated to
Prime
see on the mound.
Diego is just day off, automatic day off.
I love it. All right, I'll finish with this one. Your career low in golf.
Like my lowest point or my lowest round?
Your lowest round.
Okay. I got a lot of low points, and you've seen most of them.
I've been there you've seen my low points, man.
My career low, I shot 2 under at my club in Arizona, but it was like I played golf all the time, and I love it. I don't know if you figure this out. The more golf you play, the worse you get, kind of a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So it was like one of my first rounds of the off season, going out there, no expectations, and then just played really awesome and shot 2 under. Like, so par 71, I shot 69. That was my best round of my life.
That is awesome.
And I've shot even par at Longview a couple times.
I did that once
where
this
we're
year.
both members.
Yep, and that was my career low this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so now I gotta catch up and I gotta get under par. But dude, Mark, I appreciate you doing this, man. I love stories. We may have to do it again because I have a sneaking suspicion you may have some more stories for us. Baseball guys have the best.
I appreciate it, man.
All right, thanks, Mark. Appreciate you.
See you, brother.
Yep.